This is Retiring Today. As you can see, we're playing detectives today. Chawn Honkomp is playing the part of the powerful but clumsy Inspector Gadget, of course based on the 1983 animated series. Inspector Gadget's part man, part machine, has all kind of high-tech gadgets, gadget arms, gadget copter, and of course he'll be saving the day today. Loren Merkle is playing Sherlock Holmes, one of the best-known fictional detectives of all time, based on the short stories and novels by Conan Doyle that first appeared in 1887. Sherlock is intense. He's an astute observationalist and immensely intelligent. And I am playing the part of Nancy Drew. Of course, Nancy is the spunky, resourceful heroine of the Nancy Drew mystery series that first appeared in 1930. Detectives, are you ready for this?
We are ready.
We're ready.
Okay, here's what we're going to do today. It's kind of going to be like your favorite CSI show, your favorite crime series. What we want to do is there's going to be a crime. Then there's going to be an investigation. And of course, like all good detectives, an arrest, a conviction. We're gonna do the whole thing today. But really, what we want to do is help you. We hope that this will help you understand more what retirement means, and of course, help you maybe avoid some of the crimes that we're going to be talking about today. So, get yourself in the mindset of crime fighting. Ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay. Here is our first crime. Crime number 1: investing in mutual funds. Tell us more.
When we think about retirement planning, there's a lot of crimes. One of the biggest crimes is mutual funds, investing in mutual funds. But like all great crimes, they're not easily detectable. So what we have to do to figure out what is the crime in investing in mutual funds is really look underneath the hood, use the magnifying glass to figure out what these details are that lead to this big crime of investing in mutual funds. Because investing in mutual funds for most of you is very common. Through your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s even, you've used mutual funds, probably most common through your employer plan, your 401k plan, 403b plans. So you're accustomed to mutual funds. So you're probably sitting on the couch watching us saying, why? Tell me more. Why is investing in mutual funds such a big crime?
Well, and that's where Inspector Gadget comes in, because we're going to do some investigating. Let's investigate mutual funds and kind of tell us what the investigation reveals.
It's time to bust out all my go-go gadget tools. And we love doing the analysis and helping people identify how they're investing, what kind of strategies people are using. And what we find out when we get into mutual funds is that they're not as transparent as a lot of the other options that are out there. So something we focus on when we help you build your portfolio is this transparency. There's a lot of different options out there. And when it comes to mutual funds, we see that they often fall way to the left, maybe meaning they're some of the least transparent vehicles out there. And what I mean about that is from a fee standpoint, mutual funds have a layer of hidden fees, so people don't always know exactly what the cost is. From a level of risk standpoint, you don't necessarily know exactly how much risk you're taking in the mutual fund. So you want to get that information that you need so that you have a better understanding of exactly what it is costing you and have a more transparent portfolio design.
We've always been told about the good parts of mutual funds, which is the apparent diversification, and they're hands-off, they're easy. And the easy part about mutual funds is you have a professional manager doing the research and making the buys and sells, can be on a daily basis. But what we don't hear about is when the managers are making those buys and sells, that costs money. That cost is passed on to you, and it's not reflected in that prospectus that you look at to determine what it is that you actually pay for those mutual funds. So in that prospectus, if you see a net operating cost of, let's say, 0.5%, 0.5%, you feel pretty good. That's not too bad from an expense for everything that you think you're getting from that mutual fund. But then the transactional expenses and the tax inefficiencies and other expenses that you don't see that's not reflected in the 0.5% can really add up in excess of sometimes over 2% total. And if you Google hidden costs of mutual funds, you will see over 100,000 different articles that talk about the hidden fees of mutual funds. But it's one of those crimes that takes place that we don't often hear about.
I think that's where we cue up the crime music and really hit that home, because that's the plot twist. In this crime, that is the plot twist. I think I'm feeling good. I've got the mutual funds. I'm paying, what you said, 0.5. But then you sit across from a family in a visit, Chawn, and you tell them, no, you're really paying. I mean, what kind of numbers are you revealing in your investigation to people?
And that's where all these tools that I have as Inspector Gadget come into hand and helpful. They're very helpful. That's part of our process as we start working with the families and individuals that we work with, is that we're giving you more of this information. We have access to a third-party resource that's part of our process that gives you that information, so that instead of paying 0.5, you might actually find out that you're paying something significantly more than that. And without that information, you don't know. So we use this as part of our process to help provide more information, because that's what you are looking for. That's what people should want to have as you make these investment decisions.
What else did our investigation reveal there, Sherlock?
Our investigation revealed that there's also not as much diversification as what you think you have when you're invested in mutual funds. And I know you're sitting there thinking, what are you talking about? Because the number one response when we ask this question to people, what's the main benefit of mutual funds? They say diversification, because that's what we've always been taught. But if we look inside of the mutual funds, let's say you have a portfolio of 3 different mutual funds, and you look inside of those, just at the top 10 holdings, there can be a lot of the same stocks and or bonds within just that top 10, let alone the top 50 or top 100. And you don't see those transactions that take place. So part of the benefit of mutual funds, the manager is researching, buying and selling, that's a good thing. But if your mutual fund XYZ owned a stock this morning, 100 shares of this stock, does it own the same 100 shares this afternoon or tonight when the market closes? You can't see that. And if you have 3 different mutual funds and they all own ABC stock, are you really diversified? Or you have what we call overlap, where the mutual funds own very similar positions and is not giving you that diversification that you're really looking for. And when you're 40 years old, that's not as important, because we go through a 2008, the Great Recession, when the market's down 37% in 12 months and you're down 30%. You still had 10, 15, 20 years before you retired and needed to take money out. It wasn't that big a deal. Now you're on the doorsteps of retirement and you're thinking about taking money out of these accounts. That is when this becomes a big deal and is really magnified. And you have to make sure that you're truly diversified so you can weather the storms of the recessions when they do happen.
And it can be a real crime if these recessions happen and you're blindsided. You didn't know that was what's going to happen to your money. That you didn't know that was how your portfolio was going to react. That feels very criminal for people who are getting ready to retire.
That is probably the biggest crime. And if you can unveil the crime prior to you actually living it, what a great experience, what a better experience that is going to be. And that's why we're talking about this kind of stuff today here on this show. But this is also a part of our process that we do walk you through. Here's the crimes taking place within your portfolio. And we will put the magnifying glass on it and say, here's how much you're paying in the hidden fees that you can't see. Here's the overlap that you have in your portfolio. Are you truly diversified? So when we do go through the next recession, you're not going to take a bath like many people did the last great recession of 2008. If you unveil the crimes in your portfolio, in your plan now, before you have to live it, that is going to lead to a better experience.
Okay, I think we're ready to convict someone. We're going to convict these mutual funds. So here's kind of the conclusions, guys. Mutual funds can be effective, but we want to kind of arrest them, put them in jail, take them away as you get closer to retirement. For most people, that's a better choice.
We shouldn't feel bad about owning mutual funds. Most of us out there are going to own mutual funds at a stage of life because that's what most of our employer plans offer to us. So there's not anything wrong with owning mutual funds, but it's about identifying when can we convict the mutual funds, when are we able to possibly move away from those mutual funds. And that's where you should identify that when you have certain life events, if you have a job change, if you turn age 59 and a half, these are different events that possibly allow you to get access to these employer account balances. And now you may have the opportunity to shift those balances away from employer plans into IRAs, or now you've got the entire universe of investment strategies available to you where you don't necessarily have to remain in mutual funds. So that's where we have that opportunity to convict and potentially improve that plan.
Okay, good work, detectives. We've got some more crimes to solve, but first you might be wondering about mutual funds. We just said a lot of information. Maybe you're wondering about the mutual funds that you may own and you've got some questions about what to do with them. Here's a great opportunity to speak directly with a retirement planner. You can schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call by going to merkleretire.com. It's pretty easy. There is a calendar there. Choose a time and date. And then if you want to talk about mutual funds, great. If you have something else on your mind, that's okay. The retirement planners are there to answer your questions and listen to your concerns. More retirement crimes solved next.
Retirement is all about staying active and spending time with loved ones. But you may still wonder if you can have the retirement you've dreamed of. Download our complimentary Retire Your Way toolkit to receive a copy of Loren Merkle's new book, Retire Your Way, and 5 guides that'll help you turn your retirement worries into confidence. Go to retireyourwaytoolkit.com. Don't just dream about retirement. Take action and retire your way.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We are investigators today, and like any good detective team, we've got our investigative headquarters. So check this out. Rochelle, Anna, and Jack have put together the coolest set. So I want to acknowledge this because it's complete with an evidence string board, all kinds of file folders, maps, and all of the tools that any good detectives would need to solve a crime. And we want to solve the crime for you. So we're talking about retirement crimes to help you, of course, live out a better retirement so that you don't commit these crimes. So let's get right to it. Inspector Gadget, Sherlock Holmes, are you ready? We have another crime to solve.
Let's move forward. Let's go.
The next crime is paying too much in taxes. Let's just first, Sherlock, identify what that crime is.
This is elementary, my dear Nancy. Too much in taxes is very subjective because the level of tax that you pay is dependent upon the type of income you have coming in. And when you're working, it's about the amount of income that you have coming in. So if you want to decrease your taxes when you're working, you have a couple options. Maybe you contribute to a pre-tax retirement account, or you just make less money, which is what most people don't want to do. If you implement strategies and if you implement an intentional tax plan, you can have more control over your level of taxes when you do retire. So too much in taxes, paying too much in taxes is if you just continue down the trajectory of what you were doing when you're working, you retire, start taking money out of your accounts, you will have a retirement tax bill. You can decrease that retirement tax bill if you are very intentional and you implement the right strategies, and then you will not pay too much in taxes.
Okay, we don't want other people to commit this crime, so let's do some investigating on their behalf to help them out. Inspector Gadget, you investigate this phenomenon, and what do you find?
Wowzers. You mean I still have to pay taxes in retirement?
Unfortunately.
It's a big surprise for many
I was
people.
hoping that was one of the retirement gifts, but what we do find out as we investigate taxes is that we do have more control than we think. If we just go along the way, some like what you were mentioning, Loren, that you're going to continue to pay your taxes. And a lot of time we get those questions of how do I avoid taxes? Well, we know you're not going to avoid taxes. You're going to continue to have a tax bill throughout your retirement journey. But the main thing is how do you mitigate or decrease your total tax bill? And that's the goal of having this long-term tax plan. Let's have this long-term tax plan, which is part of our process, so that we can see what does the long-term plan show us, these years of retirement journey, so that we can use this information to make the best decisions possible in this current year. And why you want to be thinking about this right now is that taxes are on sale. We know taxes are on sale. It may not feel like that, but if you look historically at the tax rates that are out there right now, they very much are in our favor. And in fact, in a few short years, in 2026, these tax rates are set to go up. So right now is a very important reason why we want to have this tax plan, so that again, we can start making these decisions and try to save in taxes. Something we hear a lot is that because you have a CPA, you might think you have a tax plan, but something that's very important to think about is tax preparation is not the same as tax planning.
And that's why, in part, we say every December 31st that passes and you do not have an intentional tax plan in place, that could be a wasted opportunity. Because some of the most effective tax planning strategies that you can implement pre-retirement and in retirement have to be done in calendar year. You cannot wait until March or April when you file your taxes to implement these types of strategies. So as we approach every December, we really have to put our foot on the gas of our tax planning and really investigate, have we uncovered all of the tax planning strategies that we can implement to make sure that we are not paying too much in taxes.
Yeah, I was thinking about you guys in meetings with people. Though we're having fun with this detective, theme, you really are kind of detectives, because I know you sit down with couples or you sit down with individuals and you say, okay, if you stayed on the course you're on right now, here's what you'd pay in taxes, and you show them some kind of a number, an estimation. If we did these 2 strategies, here's what you'd pay in taxes. If we did these 3 strategies, I really unveiled it for them. And I'm sure, just thinking of it, really sheds some light that they have more control than they think they do.
And this is where I have to say, go gadget tax plan, because yeah, what an opportunity. A lot of the plans we build, we can see where the families that we're working with, you have an opportunity to potentially save 6 figures or more on your total tax bill, and that is valuable. That's true return. So there's so much value and so much opportunity in having this long-term tax plan.
Inspector, you have a lot of secret weapons. Probably your most powerful secret weapon is the go gadget tax plan, because you can literally save tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of a 20 to 25 year projected retirement just by investigating it. In real life, when crimes take place, most crimes are a little bit different. There's a uniqueness, a nuance to each particular crime. When we sit down with the families that we work with, there is definitely nuances to their individual situations. So it's much like putting together this big crime puzzle of here's how this piece fits with this piece and this piece fits with this piece, because the pieces put together do impact where these other pieces are going to fit. And we have to look at all of the different options and the nuances of your particular plan to make sure that you're taking advantage of all that you can.
Well, I could see you guys maybe starting to use these evidence boards to help you put together the plans.
We should put those in the conference room. We can have an evidence board for every individual or couple.
And you don't have, it's one thing to say here, you could save X amount and talk about it, but if you can see it played out even in more detail, I think you'll really get a better idea of what this looks like in a Great Opportunities or Journey to Retirement workshop. So there's a couple in there, and Loren and Chawn and Anne-Marie talk about their tax plan, and you see in real numbers how much they save on taxes when they implement some of the strategies we've been talking about.
When John and Sue looked at the crimes taking place in their overall retirement plan, just from the tax planning alone, they were able to save over 6 figures on their retirement tax bill. And we do show you exactly how John and Sue are able to do that in the Journey to Retirement workshop. So you will uncover a lot of clues and a lot of different ways that you can incorporate these strategies to help eliminate some of these retirement crimes.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that workshop is complimentary. It's online. You can kind of watch it a time and a date that works good for you, and you can get comfortable and learn a lot about retirement.
You can watch a show of Sherlock Holmes, your favorite show, or Nancy Drew or Inspector Gadget, and then you can partake in this Journey to Retirement.
I like it. Okay, it is time for my favorite part of any good crime show, the conviction. When they arrest someone, but we're going to arrest the concept. We are going to arrest the concept of the old way of thinking about taxes. We're putting those behind us, Chawn.
I mentioned before that tax preparation is not tax planning. So just to elaborate on that a little bit, this is about being proactive instead of reactive. Tax planning is being proactive. Just filing your taxes is the reactive and just doing that. But taxes are not a once a year thing. So we need to think about that. We don't want to continue with that whole defer mentality that so much of us practice as we work in our working years, 20s, 30s, 40s. At any time, we want to have that tax plan so that we can start realizing these savings. If we pay less in taxes, that's more you get to keep and more you get to spend.
We've got one more retirement crime to solve next.
Retirement is all about staying active and spending time with loved ones. But you may still wonder if you can have the retirement you've dreamed of. Download our complimentary Retire Your Way toolkit to receive a copy of Loren Merkle's new book, Retire Your Way. and 5 guides that'll help you turn your retirement worries into confidence. Go to retireyourwaytoolkit.com. Don't just dream about retirement. Take action and retire your way.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We are playing the part of detectives Inspector Gadget, Sherlock Holmes, and Nancy Drew. And right here I've got my mom's copy of the first Nancy Drew book, The Secret of the Old Clock. Of course, she read it, then passed it on to me. So Nancy Drew, near and dear to my heart, and she is good at solving crimes, and so are we today. We've got one more crime to solve, and this is a big crime, Sherlock. Not having a retirement plan.
It's the biggest crime because having a retirement plan can eliminate so many of these other crimes. But as you go through the working years, you're not thinking about all the stuff you have to do once you actually retire, right? All of the logistics. You're thinking about this great time of all this free time that you have, that you can do all the things you want to do. But then as you approach, you realize there's a whole lot of crimes that can sneak up on you that you've never had to think about, like what do you do with the up to 81 different Social Security options you have? What do you do with Medicare when you have all this literature bombard your mailbox and your phone? What do you do with all of these decisions? Those are the crimes that sneak up on you. The investigation, your plan needs to reveal those crimes prior to them taking place so you can avoid those crimes and have this magical retirement that you've been dreaming of.
And I don't think people should feel bad if they don't have a retirement plan, because really what you've been told most of your working years is you're putting money in your 401k or you have a pension, that's your retirement plan. You'll be okay. Just get to some certain magical number and you'll be okay. So if people don't have a plan, they shouldn't feel bad.
That is okay. When we first interact with families and individuals, maybe in their 50s or 60s or anywhere really beyond that, most of you feel like your investment plan is your retirement plan. But what you really want to be thinking about is an investment plan is this big while a retirement plan is this big. We know our retirement planning process focuses on the 6 components. And all 6 of those components lead to various questions, like you were mentioning, Loren, that we've never faced before. As you're retiring, you've never had to decide on Social Security, and possibly you've never had the tax plan. So we see that this retirement planning process with those 6 components, it adds value to people's retirement journey. And we see that when you have the plan, you do perform better. Your investment portfolio can perform better. On average, we see anywhere from 1% to 3% better return on your performance, which that's a big part of your overall plan. But we've talked about the tax planning, saving tens of thousands or 6 figures of tax bill. That's return on your plan, along with lots of these other things, the Social Security decisions, building an income plan. How often do we get the question of, how do I even get my money? Right? You've never retired before, you've never taken distributions, you've been focused on accumulating. So there's so many opportunities to have that plan. There's so many opportunities for that plan to be valuable to your retirement journey.
Imagine going through retirement and not having to worry about your entire retirement and your lifestyle every time you turn on the news and you see that the market is down by 2% or 12% over the last 6 months or 30% over the last 12 months. You don't have that anxiety and that stress that comes with going to and through retirement without the plan. When those uncertainties do take place, the uncontrollables do take place, you have a plan. That is your roadmap. That is your North Star towards retirement. And you know it's going to work out because of all the intricacies and how that plan is made for you in your retirement. As opposed to not having that roadmap, not having that North Star, and wandering around thinking what's next and just hoping that it's going to work out.
Yeah, and to lean into this investigation, and you guys really do sit down with families and do the investigating for them, help them, right? So again, they haven't had to investigate this type of a crime. They don't even always know what questions to ask, and that's okay because you've done it hundreds, if not maybe close to thousands of times now. You've been doing it a while, and so you know the right questions to ask, and you can get them answers.
Whenever we eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. So what we do in the investigation is we eliminate the impossible, we find the truths for you, and then that way you can have the retirement you want without all the crimes that can take place.
Elementary. Watson Elementary. Oh no, that's what Sherlock says. Man, I almost felt like we should close right there. It was one of those Sherlock Holmes, just dropping all that knowledge on people. And again, that's kind of what you guys do. You would never call it that, but I know you help people as they move to and through retirement. A great way to kind of see all this play out as that journey to retirement workshop. I can't stress enough how you'll take each one of the components and write it out for people, spell it out for people. This is what it looks like when we apply them to your situation.
In that journey, we used John and Sue to be able to walk through those 6 components and start to educate. I mean, our primary role is information and education. We're trying to help you through the stage of life that you've never retired before. And for almost all of you out there, you tell us you only want to retire once. So now is the time to get it right. So we take you through this journey to retirement to help get you thinking about the various components of retirement that are new to you, the numerous questions that people are going to be facing for that first time, so that as we help you build that plan, we've got the information we need to help you make smart, informed decisions along the way.
Sign up now for our online Journey to Retirement workshop. You go to retirewithmerkle.com. You can choose a time and a date that works for you, and then get ready to relax, sit back, and learn all about retirement. But we've got one more lockup to do, one more conviction to make, and really learn. It's locking up the idea that a plan is only for the ultra wealthy.
It's not for the ultra wealthy. If you want to retire, you need to have a plan. Just like if you were going to take a road trip from Des Moines to Seattle, you're going to want to have a road map or a GPS map to get you there. Retirement is no different, except for it's way more impactful because we're talking about the rest of your life, not just a 2-week vacation.
It's time for you to smoke that cigarette now there, Watts. I was just waiting for you there. Thanks for watching Retiring Today. We've had some fun with the retirement crime solving, and we hope you have too.